Okay, we're gonna do a example practice page on Scratchboard. So what you're going to get first is a blank piece of this black Scratchboard. And then we're going to cut out one of these tiger's eye examples. Cut out the white space too. Okay, so just like this one here, I'm gonna have the tiger's eye on the bottom. So what I'm gonna do is just use this to help divide the space. The main tool we're gonna use is one of these scratching tools. So I just really want a line that goes above this photocopy. Doesn't even have to be ruler straight. Okay, I'm gonna set this aside for later. Just gonna scratch this out. So if you kind of turn this to its side, you can get a broader or wider mark. If I just use the tip, I just get a really thin line. So I'm gonna make this a wider line so you can see it better. And then it might be good if we have a tissue here to kind of help wipe this stuff away. We'll also put paper underneath us because this is gonna get kind of messy. Okay, so in the top half of your practice page, you're gonna practice different types of marks. So let's first do a little value scale where you have more marks and then you spread them out. So it's basically hatching lines. Okay, so you're gonna do close together. You could turn it on its side, make some broad, thick lines, and then spread those out. And then you can also get a thinner line. Okay, so that's just a basic value scale. Let's try to do some weighted line. So weighted line is going from thick to thin. Just try to do one curvy line where you're trying to go from thick to thin. So I'm gonna go through and kind of clean it up. You could go thicker and then try to get as thin as possible. Again, you can turn it on its side, make a thicker line. Then you want to try to make it gradually go into the thin line. Okay, let's think about some fur since we're going to be doing this tiger's eye. So think about having short little quick marks. Think about patches of fur. And you want to have them all go in the same direction. So we're just doing some short, quick hatching marks, but they're really to show the direction of fur. Okay, try something like that. Then we could try some longer strands. Again, you want them all going in the same direction. Try getting some thin lines. So I've got some thicker going out to thin. I'm gonna make this even brighter here. Okay, on this right side, we're actually gonna show a sphere and some light source. So what we're gonna do first is draw. You can draw with this, or you can do a pencil first if you want. I feel pretty confident. Okay, so you're gonna sketch out a sphere. Then you got to have table back behind. We're going to have the light coming this way. Okay, so we're going to think about cross contour lines that wrap around the form. Then they're going to get lighter, so I can use the point to get my thinner lines lighter as they go to the right. You can also do kind of dashes or broken lines. Okay, now I can think about cross hatching also, going the opposite direction. So think about curving those lines. Be really light on this side. Remember, just because you add the lines once doesn't mean it's done. You can go back on top, add more. You gotta be careful once you scratch too much away. It's really hard to get it back. Could use some Sharpie if you need to. All right, now we want to show the table, and it's going to have a cast shadow going opposite the light source. So cast shadow is going to be coming down this way. And then you want to do all of your table lines, right, in the same direction as the plane of that surface. So I'm going to keep them all horizontal. And I'm going to get lighter or less lines so I'm further away from the light source. Okay, I want more light back here. Okay, now on the bottom half is where we're going to use our tiger's eye. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to tape it down. Oh, sorry, let me clean up, get that scratchboard dust off there. Okay, now I'm going to tape it down. And I want to get white chalk or yellow chalk, any sort of light colored chalk on the back of this. This yellow is nice because then I can see it on the white paper. All right, flip this over. Now I'm going to use a red pen to trace over all the contour lines. So here's an example of what the contour lines look like. Okay, so I'm going to get a red pen. I got two in case one of them don't work. And the reason you want to use a red pen is so you can see what you're doing. And the lines that you do not have to be straight. So here's, let me make sure this, yep, working. So as I'm doing this line, kind of keeping it zigzag or squiggly. Let's check this. Lift it. Yep. So I had my hand sitting here. So I'm gonna wipe that away. Try to keep my hand off of this. It's not working on that side because I didn't get chalk over there. So what I'm tracing is all of the value differences, right? There's those white shapes in here. When I'm doing the zigzag line, I'm trying to go with the direction of the fur. This is a black stripe on the tiger. I'm gonna try to move the camera less. Oops. Okay, I don't need a zigzag line when I do the eye. Again, I'm getting the value differences. So there's a value difference where the top of the eyeball is, and then you've got those highlights in there. Almost done. Okay, I think that's everything. Oh wait, a little bit more black around here. Okay, so now I'm going to take this piece of tape off. Oops, ripped. And I'm just going to tape it right up here to use as my guide. So I'm going to be looking at this as I'm scratching away because I'm looking at the values, right? I'm going to scratch more away where it's white, and I'm looking at now the direction that the lines or the fur is going in. So I'm going to start in my white areas, right? Like areas like this. And it looks like the lines are going away from the eye. I have my tool upside down. And in the end, this white chalk is going to disappear, so don't stress about the yellow chalk. You can do short lines if it looks like the fur is layering. And then where you have it gray, you're still gonna do lines. You just have to show it's brighter where the fur is white. Okay, where it's black, I'm gonna leave that spot empty. And then it looks like more of a gray stripe here. Right, so you're starting to see those value differences. And I can always go back in. I can use the wider side if I want more of contrast or bright white highlight. Okay, let's talk about the eye. So when you're doing the eyeball, it's not fur. So we want to try to show a different texture. So for this one, I'm going to think more about, well, first of all, where it's really bright, I am going to scratch and remove some white. Then, oh yeah, and there's also bright white highlights. Go ahead and get the white. Now, the other areas where it gets gray, I'm actually going to do stippling. So this way I'm getting a different texture than the fur. Okay, where it gets darker, this crease, I'm gonna do less. Looks like it gets darker as it gets closer to that black iris. So I want a little bit of stippling around. And I gotta kind of fade that into this brighter area. So if you scratched away too much, you can use a black Sharpie, but you got to remember the texture is going to be different. So we want to try to avoid that if possible. So when I rub this with my finger now, it also gets the chalk away. So then I can see what it actually is looking like. I want to go back in here. And a little bit of that gray underneath that eye. Okay, I'm gonna let you guys now go at this.